from officially having a bracket. For Michigan, as they win the tip at 16-9 overall and 7-7 in Big Ten play, they currently find themselves on the right side of the bubble, but a loss tonight would likely lead them to first 4-out territory. With that being said, if they want to come out and successfully put the pedal to the metal and beat a pretty inferior Illinois team, who's going to have to be the X factor for Michigan tonight?
Well, Adam, for me tonight and for the whole season, the X factor for the Wolverines has been Amy Dilk. She's not just a scorer. This offense runs through her. When she's able to find open teammates and distribute the ball, create assists, create good scoring opportunities, this Michigan team is really, really difficult to defend.
No doubt Michigan goes as Amy Dilk goes, and it's pretty evident in her turnover numbers from the last two games, both of them losses for the Michigan Wolverines. She's got 9 turnovers in the last 2 games combined, so looking to clean that up tonight. In addition, Dilk on the year has played 30-plus minutes in 15 consecutive games, so she has been a huge factor for Michigan, particularly, as Kim alluded to, with Naz Hillman being banged up against Northwestern 2 games ago, as Hillman gets a touch, and playing very poorly against Rutgers, a season-low 5 points for Hillman. However, looking to bounce back tonight over to the Illinois side, the Fighting Illini have really struggled their way to a 2-12 Big Ten record after beginning the year 9-2 in the non-conference slate as they hit a shot there. Despite these woes, their tantalizing freshman class has given Coach Nancy Faye several reasons to be excited for the future.
Well, they do have 2 really important freshmen to this team, and they both have really bright futures from what we've seen watching them this season. Kennedy Miles, the forward, she's starting tonight. She's been starting since the beginning of the season, has really been a very important player for the Illini. She's currently 5th in the Big Ten with 8.4 rebounds per game, and she's just doing a really good job of pulling rebounds for the Illini, who have had some struggles this season. And also Janae Terry, who entered the lineup about 5 games ago. This will be her 6th start of the season. Has been really hot in a brand new big role for her, shooting 45% from 3 in those past 5 games, and she added a career high 15 points against Indiana.
A lane violation there, so the second free throw attempt from Haley Brown, despite going down, not going to count. Brown hit the first though, so Michigan now trailing 3-1, now 6-1 as Petra Holoshinska drains that one from downtown, giving the Illini an early 5-point lead. And for Illinois, as they nearly get another turnover there, they were pretty excellent on the road last Thursday against Indiana as Haley Brown lays it inside. Illinois, though, against a great Indiana team who is actually in the top 25, nearly pulled off a win in that one, in that game. Illinois nearly able to pull ahead late. They were actually leading that one pretty late in the fourth quarter, about 4 to 5 minutes left in that one when Illinois had their last lead. What did they do so well in that game that they're going to look to replicate here tonight?
Well, like I said, they got a great performance out of the freshman Janae Terry. She got 15 points. She really showed up, hitting 3-pointers and being clutch in big situations for the Illini late in that game. Petra Holshinska also had a great performance, as she has really been leading this team in scoring the entire season, really been one of the only consistent players in that regard for the Illini.
Hot start for Illinois, who are in a zone on defense. Illini leading 8-3 as Amy Dilk takes and hits from the corner. That one, a 3-pointer, her feet near the line, but instead Amy Dilk, like you said, Sam, the team goes as she goes.
Well, she can score for sure, but interestingly, she scores more points than Michigan losses. I think that means she definitely needs to balance her game out a little bit more if Michigan wants to succeed. She has fewer assists and fewer rebounds in those games.
And speaking of scoring, how about Petra Holoshinska, now 2 for 2 from deep on the night. The Michigan defense looking pretty anemic early on. Illinois 4 of 4 from the floor, now 3 of 3 for deep, 4 of 4 from deep, and 5 of 5 for the game as Allie Andrews drains home her second shot. And the Illini all smiles on the defensive side. They've broken out an 8-point lead against the mighty Michigan Wolverines, and Michigan now turning that one over. A freshman mistake from Maddie Nolan. Things just moving a little bit too quickly early on for Michigan.
Well, the 3-pointer can be really deadly, and especially when you hit 4 of them in a row to start off a game. Illini are hot right now, and that's going to make it really tough for Michigan to claw their way back into this one.
The 3-point line known as the great equalizer, and for Illinois it has been more than that. They have been perfect Stepping in now, trying to extend the streak, but instead ending it is the aforementioned freshman, Kennedy Miles. Kennedy Miles, like you said, Sam, she has been great. Really one of the few bright spots on this Illinois team that has struggled majorly in Big Ten play. However, missing that shot, Illinois still happy with the output. They've been making good shots, stopping Naz Hillman, who finally gets a chance inside and lays it in, making the Illini defense pay for not locking her up down low.
Well, you have to. You have to put a body on her. She is so good down low. She's one of the best shooters in the Big Ten, currently shooting 56%. That's second best. She is just lethal on the blocks.
Naz Hillman, despite those past 2 games where she has struggled, well on her way to another first-team All-Big Ten finish as A.K. Johnson gets a steal and looks to push. Johnson, corner, Dilk, 3-ball from the corner. No good front rim. Hustling is Brandi Beasley, pulling it down. Beasley now a dicey mid-range jumper, gets it to go from around the elbow. Illinois really pushing the pace against a Michigan team that tends to take it slowly on both ends of the floor.
Well, I think it's working out really well for them. They've been able to space out the floor as well, and they've had quite a few open three-pointers. They're 4 for 4 right now, and that's really helped them jump out to this big lead early on.
A.K. Johnson getting in on the scoring, bringing Michigan now within 5, just at the 5-minute mark. This game has moved along really quickly. Both teams not afraid to let it fly on the game. Already 8 3-point attempts between the two sides, and Illinois still perfect. 4 of 4 from deep as Holoshinska swings to the corner. Terry thought about a three-pointer, thought better of it. Now she goes up with it and gets it to go. Janae Terry keeping that hot streak alive. The Illini now a perfect 5 of 5, 19 points, just over halfway into this quarter. A scorching pace for the Fighting Illini.
Well, ever since she stepped into the lineup, Janae Terry has been lights out from three-point range. She's now 7 for 14 since she entered the starting lineup from behind the arc. Before that, she was shooting just 25%. She's really taken advantage of that new role that she has now.
Yeah, like you said, Janae Terry, as Brandi Beasley misses that one and Michigan gets the rebound. A player who was really nowhere near the starting lineup at the beginning of the year. Instead, as A.K. Johnson comes down and gets that one to go. Terry, a player who was on the bench behind Jada Peebles. Peebles actually started the first 11 games of the season. She has not started since then. And in fact, in her last 4 games, 3 of them have resulted in her playing under 10 minutes. So Peebles seeing her role diminish at the same time as Terry picking it up out on the floor.
Well, I think it's hard when you have to choose between 2 very talented young players. Both of them, you want to...
I'm sure they're grateful that the ball is going through the hoop, but on the defensive side, much to be concerned about.
Yeah, well, they were only 15 for 50 against Rutgers on Sunday, and that was just not a performance that's going to win you a game. Tonight, though, their defense kind of leaving some more open spaces for the Illini as well. But their offense, they're finding open shooters. They're pushing the ball up the court in transition well. And I think they have a good job they'll do a good job of keeping up with the score, at least, if they can't figure out how to get their defense together.
Yeah, Illinois still rolling. A pretty good contest there for Michigan, but Courtney Jones, who recently checked into the game, making them pay for being just a step slow. A.K. Johnson now from the mid-range back rim rebound. Courtney Jones joining Jones on the floor. Allie Andrews, Petra Holshinska, Jada Peebles, and Janiyah Ephraim. As Allie Andrews misses a shot on the Michigan side, it's Hillman, Dilk, Johnson, Michelle Sidor recently into the game, and Isabel Verjao. For Sidor and Verjao, we've spoken about the Illinois freshman class. Those 2 members of the Michigan freshman class, they've been playing decent roles as of late, but as the season's gone on, they've been a little bit less effective in contributing to this team.
Well, I think when they first broke through the lineup, as Michigan had some injury problems early in the year, and they're still struggling with them, they were a little fresh. Opponents didn't really know what to do with them, how to guard them, or how to get around them on offense. But I think opponents have adjusted a little bit, and there's always going to be some sort of sophomore slump or dip in numbers. It's pretty typical for a young player.
Yeah, Michelle Sidor had seen her minutes dip. However, in the last 3 games, she has played at least 15 minutes in every single one as she rained down a trifecta there. A nice-looking shot as Petra Holshinska looks to drive Hillman and lays it in over Hillman. Some good defense from Michigan continuing, but Illinois just finding the bottom of the net with just about everything they put up.
Well, they're just keeping the ball rotating, and there's always going to be someone open. Michigan trying to double team on some of these possessions. They're letting some of these Illini players pass them as the Illini try to push the pace, and that's really leaving the court open for these shooters that have been raining down triples tonight.
Dilk, the sophomore from Carmel, Indiana, like you said, Sam, the team goes as she goes, hits a free throw there, now up to 4 points on the night. However, she is 1 of 4 from the floor. She hit that 3 early, but since 0 for 3, Dilk on the year, 64% in the line. The second gets that one to go. Michigan now trailing only 25-20. 1:40 left in this first quarter. Michigan, the proverbial favorite in this one, has not led for a single second against the pesky Illini.
Well, they've been clawing their way a little bit back in, chipping away piece by piece.
And how about the defense from Johnson? Nearly walked with it, instead lays it in for the deuce. Michigan now cutting that lead to 3. The aggression keeping up on the defensive end. Michigan as a team averaging just under 7 steals per game on the night. They now have 3 in the first quarter.
Well, the defense really aggressive early, and I think that's starting to pay off right now, is forcing the turnover in the transition bucket there. Michigan really likes to play fast and forcing turnovers and turning them into points.
Janae Terry on the wing. Looked like she knocked down Johnson. Instead takes the 3, and she knocks down the 3. How about Janae Terry getting fired up on the defensive side now?
Well, there's some great confidence there from Janae Terry. She knew she was going to make that shot. She saw that her defender had hit the floor, and she knew that she had plenty of time to set her feet and release to make the three-pointer.
Amy Dilk rattles the mid-range home. Now just over the amount of time left in the shot clock, so Illinois likely to hold for this final shot. Indeed they do. Jada Peebles bringing it up near the block M, the half-court line. Just looking to take their time. What type of set are you expecting here from Illinois?
I think you want to run some sort of motion, get a shooter cutting through the lane, get a couple picks set for them, try and get a catch-and-shoot opportunity here. Michigan
slotting into zone. Terry, skip pass. Peebles gets a 3 decently open. Airballs it. Rebound Hillman, the quarter gonna run out. A decent turn of events at the end for Michigan, but still the 57% shooting.
Well, she's really day or night, home or away. She really thrives here in the Chrysler Center. The atmosphere of the fans cheering her on. She struggled a little bit on the road, and Michigan also as well. But 11-3 at home, these Wolverines, and a large part of it is due to Kenray Johnson's great performances here on this court.
Brandi Beasley, tough shot. Kennedy Miles, one of the best rebounders in the country, coming up down low. Beasley now swings to Jones, who flips that one in. Illinois now back up 6. And, you know, for Johnson, for some contextual versus a single opponent information, against Rutgers on Sunday, only 3 points in 36 minutes. When Rutgers came to the Chrysler Center a little over a month ago, 24 points for Johnson.
Well, she had a huge game, one of the best games of her career, and that led Michigan to the win in that game. But as you can see, she is also a very important part of this offense. Michigan can't afford to have players struggle, especially on the road in tough games. You saw that on Sunday, where Michigan really, really had a hard time putting the ball in the basket, and so did Kenray Johnson on that night as well.
And this team's so used to relying on Naz Hillman for some of those easy baskets down low, and with Hillman a little bit banged up, as our sideline reporter Kim Morales alluded to, against Rutgers, as Terry blows the layup there. They, like you said, Sam, were hard-pressed to get easy buckets. Everything was forced in a way. As Vergel gets a touchdown low, it's Booth, though, a foul against Illinois. Getting back to A.K. Johnson, in addition to the offense, she's really stepped up this season on the defensive side of the ball as well, and I don't think there's really a better example than last Thursday. Although Michigan lost, Johnson held Lindsey Pulliam, the second leading scorer in the Big Ten, to a season-low 4 points on 1 of 10 shooting.
Well, she did a great job, both in the paint and on the perimeter. Lindsey Pulliam tried to drive. She tried to shoot three-pointers over her, and Kenray Johnson able to get in her face, keep her out of the lane. Did a great job staying in front of her.
And fittingly, A.K. Johnson now going to be matching up man-to-man with Petra Holshinska, the leading scorer for the Illini at 8 in the game, who now gets a touch on the wing. 8:22 in this one left in the second quarter. The Illini leading 30-24. Looking to go to work on Maddie Nolan down low. Instead, it's an offensive foul. No, it's a defensive foul. Looks like the ref gave a hooking motion, signaling what would have been a foul on the offensive player. Instead, it's on the defense, and behind us, Naz Hillman's mom is having none of it.
The fans not happy with that call. You can hear them booing in the background. But I think they got the call right.
Holshinska wide open three, can't get it to go. Kennedy Miles, another offensive rebound. She can't get the follow to go, and getting back to that attempt to attack Nolan. That's really a theme we've seen all year from Michigan's opponents. A.K. Johnson now three ball, can't get that one to go. Michigan crashing the rim, unable to wind up with it. Getting back to the defensive side between Nolan and Seedor as Illinois turns it over. Opposing teams have really attacked the Michigan freshmen. So with that being said, are you surprised that we haven't seen more zone looks when Seedor and Nolan are out on the court, or do you think that it is the right move to just leave them on an island out there, rely a little bit on your help defense when they get beat, but still for the most part, let them roll mano-y-mano out on the wing?
Well, I think KBA has a lot of confidence in her team's ability to guard one-on-one athletically. They're a very athletic team. They've got all of their players typically on the court are over 6 foot tall, especially in their starting lineup. And I think that she wants to introduce these freshmen into the type of role that they will be playing in the future in their 4 years here at Michigan, and wants to get them adjusted to playing one-on-one defense at the D1 level.
Trial by fire. Speaking of fire, Illinois cooled down a little bit on the offensive side. Their lead now whittled to 3 as Michigan is playing frenetic defense. Now looking for a frenetic fast break. It's Dilk to the hole. Gave that one up. A tough turnover. A tough pill to swallow.
And a tough mistake there from Amy Dilk. Not looking to make sure that her target was open. Missed the Illini defender and ended up giving the ball back.
Terry looking to go at Nolan. She succeeds, banks that one in, using the glass nicely. And, for Maddie Nolan, now starting her 5th consecutive game following the injury to Danielle Roush. Some really important minutes as of late. Puts up a 3 there, can't get it to go. But some hustle on the defensive side. A.K. Johnson staying pressed up and working for that one. Michigan all over the place. Their energy has really been contagious out there on the floor.
Yeah, especially in the second quarter. They've been really aggressive on defense, jumping passing lanes and poking the ball out and running in transition when they get the chance.
Nolan from the mid-range gets that one to go. How about it? She's got 5 points tonight. She only had 12 in the 4 games prior, so this 5 here today, Maddie Nolan's career high, and looking to bring it on the defensive end. Look at that energy, getting ready to lock in against Janae Terry. Terry now steps back, puts it up for 3. Side rim and a rebound. Naz Hillman, Michigan trailing by 3. Just under 6 to go. 1 possession game. Wolverines a chance to tie this one up for the first time in a while. Haley Brown, now the trifecta, hits it from deep. Haley Brown draining that 3 ball, and Michigan now knotting things up at 32.
Well, Haley Brown is the 3-point option for the Michigan Wolverines. She's their go-to when they need 3. Great shot. Found herself open at the top of the key off a great screen and buried it to tie this game up at 32.
And how about on the defensive side as well? Michigan really extending their pressure early on. Illinois really able to take all of their 3s from way downtown. Michigan getting out there. Holshinska swings. It's Beasley, another 3, and she buries it from the corner. That one rolled in by Brandi Beasley. The Illini now back out to a 3-point lead, just over 5 to go.
And you can tell the Illini really focused on 3-pointers in their game plan, because they are coming out and trying to create as many opportunities from behind the arc as they can.
Hillman swings. It's Nolan. Not a great 3-point shooter. That one rattles out on the air. Maddie Nolan, despite having hit one earlier, only 13% coming into this game. So Illinois more than happy to let Nolan take it. Looking to take it herself was Kennedy Miles, but how about the strength from Naz Hillman?
Well, great physical defense from Naz Hillman. Stood her ground. Wasn't going to let the Illini offensive player run through her. She was going to make her go around her.
Haley Brown wide open, and with that triple, the Michigan Wolverines tying it up at 35, and Haley Brown has now made 2 or more three-pointers in 8 of her last 10 games. Speaking of sharpshooters, Haley Brown, one of the best in the Big Ten.
Well, she definitely is one of the best in the Big Ten, and Michigan is lucky to have her. They don't shoot a lot of three-pointers, and they don't typically shoot them very well, but she is one of the bright spots on this team in that area.
From downtown, Kennedy Miles missing that one. She's not a great three-point shooter herself, only 17%, but in a way that three-point love, a little bit infectious tonight. The two teams, a combined 23 three-pointers just over halfway through the second quarter. Maddie Nolan could have had a chance to add to that. Michigan, though, looking to work inside to Naz Hillman. Hillman on the game, only 2 points on one shot as Maddie Nolan blows the layup. Maddie Nolan, surprisingly, on the game now has 4 more shots than Naz Hillman. You couldn't have expected that.
Well, no, you really expect Michigan to feed Naz Hillman in the post right now, especially when they're losing or tied, as they just recently did. Maddie Nolan is not the most proven scorer on this team. Typically, she does a lot more for this team when she is defending hard and creating turnovers.
And how about Brandi Beasley in that game? Purdue shot 54% tonight. Michigan against Illinois shooting 56%. However, the most glaring stat of the night. On Sunday's game, Illinois as a team had only 13 rebounds. They got dominated on the glass all game long as Amy Dilk gets an and one opportunity. Going to have to take a break on the rebounding store. How about the power and the finesse on that finish?
Well, Amy Dilk finding her way into lane, so strong, so acrobatic. Really tough layup there, taking the harm. She's done a great job this year getting her own baskets, which allows her to find open teammates.
Amy Dilk, nothing but net on the free throw, now knotted up at 38. Dilk now in double figures. She's got 10 points on the night, just near her season average of 11.3. But as to the rebounding, Michigan as a team averages 13.1 offensive rebounds a night. Tonight, 0, zilch, not a single one. They have been all but tranquilized down on the offensive glass.
Well, yeah, early on, Illinois has really uncharacteristically for this season been very good on the boards tonight. Out rebounding the Wolverines right now, 13-8. You talked about on Sunday they were out rebounded 42-19. And you got to think they came into tonight's game thinking they had to be much better on the glass if they were going to come out with a victory.
A whole bunch of emphasis, like you said, on that. In addition to the defensive rebounding prowess, a perfect 10 for 10 on those, they've also added 2 offensive rebounds, and a lot of that has been due in part to Kennedy Miles, who has now checked back into the game. Kennedy Miles, earlier in the season, 20 rebounds against Evansville. That number, a single-game freshman record. On the year, she's got 7 games with 10-plus rebounds. So for Miles, like you said earlier, Sam, really a bright spot for this Illinois team, a bright spot tonight. They're shooting on the offensive side. However, the defense going to have to be cleaned up a little bit. And a player who's really damaged them, who just made the pass there, Haley Brown.
Well, Haley Brown spacing the floor really well. Hit 2 3-pointers earlier in this game.
Michigan nearly had their first offensive rebound there, but instead it's a foul on Amy Dilk. That one going against Dilk. It is the first against Amy. It is the second of the quarter for Michigan. We haven't really spoken about fouls at all. There haven't really been many stoppages in this game. Both media timeouts coming at about the 3-minute mark in the respective quarters. Both teams playing a clean game, and I think a lot of that goes back to the inability of both teams to get the ball inside, really working it around the perimeter. So naturally, Amy Dilk now picking up her second foul there, an offensive foul. Just a little bit too much mustard for Dilk driving to the basket.
Well, we've seen Michigan and Illinois pushing the pace in this one. I think that is partially to blame for how quickly this game has moved by. Both teams settling for open three-pointers early in the shot clock, really moving the ball back and forth. And as you said, Michigan, no offensive rebounds. Illinois has been able to cover up the defensive class, not allowing any second chances for the Wolverines, and I think that's been really, really advantageous for the Illini so far tonight.
Just over a minute and a half left in this second quarter. The half winding down. The two teams tied up at 38. Remember, Michigan has not led for a single second in this game. They've been tied twice, aside from the opening tip, looking finally to take a lead. Sidor swings Dilk, attacking the basket with the left, blocked from behind, thought she got fouled. Instead, now Illinois a chance to push the basketball. The block there being given to Janae Terry on the night. Janae Terry, she's got 8 points on 3 of 5 shooting. She's on the wing now with the ball, guarded out on the perimeter by Naz Hillman. 1 minute left in this second quarter. Terry using that offhand, nearly traveling with it as well. Hillman coming up with it. A chance now for Michigan. Are you 2 for 1-ing, Sam? Or are you holding for one good look?
Well, I think if you get the good look, you have to take it, obviously. You can't pass up any good opportunities. There's a great one in there from Naz Hillman. You know she's got the advantage down low right there, drawing the foul. I think that's what you got to be happy with for Michigan. You got to put points on the board when you can.
And Michigan now looking to break a just over 2-minute scoring drought as Amy Dilk going to check out with those 2 fouls. Maddie Nolan coming back in. As for the game, Michigan really beating the Illinois zone down the floor for one of the first times all night. And like you said, being rewarded with an excellent touchdown low. Naz Hillman rewarding the Wolverines' effort and getting up the floor by knocking down that first free throw as well.
Well, now they've got their first lead of the night, and it seems like the momentum's been swinging their way throughout this second quarter. Started down, but now pushing their way into the lead.
And finally, an offensive rebound, 2 in fact, for Michigan. However, unable to take advantage of either of them. The first one, a layup missed down low by Haley Brown, then rebounded by Naz Hillman, who is stripped. She'll be given a turnover. That turnover now the 7th of the half for Michigan. So well on the way to their season average of 15.6. They've got 7 in the first half, so they'd be a little below it. But now here on the Illinois side, they've been shooting the ball spectacularly, still at 54% from the night. However, the turnovers plaguing them as well. They've got 9 in this first half, looking to change the momentum here. Great pocket pass inside. It's Kennedy Miles. She's hacked. That basket's going to count. The Wolverines don't think it should. Kennedy Miles kind of stepped through and pump faked after getting hit, but instead the referee ruling that that one came in one coherent motion. So Kennedy Miles pushing Illinois back into a 1-point lead, and now a chance to extend it to a deuce with just 14 seconds left in the first half.
Well, a great job there by Kennedy Miles, using her leverage inside to get to the rim, draw the foul, and the bucket. Doing what Naz Hillman does so well for Michigan, but giving Michigan a taste of their own medicine.
So Illinois now leading 40-39. The refs discussing what happened down under their rule that nobody touched that one. They were looking to see if Naz Hillman had touched that one. However, Hillman off the box out, got undercut a little bit, came up limping. However, she gets down the court quickly. Looks like she's okay. Now under 10 seconds, Illinois going to use some of those fouls to give that foul only the 4th against the Illini. So using that one early, do you agree with that, or would you have waited a little bit longer?
I think it's an interesting choice, giving Michigan a little bit less time to work with out of the half court. I think if you get a chance to set up your defense, it looks good.
And A.K. Johnson now taking advantage. She drives the hole and gets fouled. That one the 5th against Illinois. So A.K. Johnson now going to have a chance for 2 at the free throw line. And, you know, for Michigan, it's got to feel great. You didn't really play all that well in the first quarter. You let Illinois just rain down shots on you. But now, with just over 5 seconds left in the half, you have a chance to take the lead for one of the few times in this first half in which you've really just been flat out outplayed and outshot by the Fighting Illini.
Well, Michigan definitely wanting to seize the momentum heading into the locker room for halftime. They can do so here. They will.
And indeed, A.K. Johnson draining that one. Michigan now leading 41-40. The Wolverines playing a press. Here comes Brandi Beasley. Going to get a good look at it with the left hand. Scoops it in just before the buzzer. How about that hustle from Brandi Beasley, breaking the Michigan press and laying it in for the deuce. Oh, so close to the buzzer, but oh, so important for the Fighting Illini.
Well, normally shoot 32% on the season. Surprising for both teams. Both teams have been hot early in this one.
A whole bunch of three-point volume, but, you know, it's modern basketball. It's what you come to expect, and like you said, Illinois has just been letting it fly. A look inside, now swatted from behind, but instead a foul on Maddie Nolan. You know, as a freshman, those are the calls that even when you make the right play, and it happens to all freshmen, even when you make the right play, your reputation as a freshman and being a foul-prone freshman gets you a lot of calls that might not actually be fouls.
Yeah, well, especially for Maddie Nolan, just getting used to the D1 level. It's so tough. There's a lot of physicality. The referees are going to call not everything, but if you don't look like you know where you're supposed to be, or you don't look like you're in the right place, especially as a freshman, which can happen on the court, it can be tough for the referees to get the right call.
Starting off the half, Janae Terry misses both of them from Illinois on the year. Terry, a 61% free throw shooter, however, missing both of them there. Now it is the aforementioned Nolan inside and lays it in. Maddie Nolan now up to a career-high 7 points. A little bit of defense, a little bit of offense, and for Nolan, a player who fouled out against Northwestern, she picked up those 5 relatively quickly in that one. Grateful to be making a huge impact in this game as Michigan now back up by 1 with just over 9 minutes to go in this third quarter. Brandi Beasley with the ball. Beasley 12 points, 4 boards, 3 assists, all of those numbers leading the team. Lucky to evade that trap. Numbers for Illinois can barely get that one off just before the shot clock violation. And Michigan coming out of the half with some incredible defensive intensity.
Well, some great aggressive D, great trap there, great decision from KBA to force Illinois to swing the ball around, and they just really weren't comfortable. They couldn't find an open player.
Now it's Hillman from just inside the zone, rattles that one home, and when you're facing the zone, as Illinois has shown so often in this one, that's what you got to do. Get the ball into the soft spot, get the ball into the middle, let the zone collapse, and go to work.
Michigan doing a great job today of getting the ball in the middle of the zone, like you said. That gives you opportunities on the wing to kick out to shooters, and it also lets you pass to cutters along the baseline. Really a lot of great opportunities for Michigan so far on offense.
First opportunity of the half on offense for Allie Andrews. The possession before rattling that one in. Now Amy Dill takes to the hole and blows the layup. She tries to bat that one around. A.K. Johnson can't get to that one. And now an offensive transition opportunity for the Illini.
Maddie Nolan really showing what she can do on defense. She is a huge member of this Michigan defense. She's not playing big minutes lately, not always showing it in the scoring column, but she definitely shows it on defense.
And how about Naz Hillman finally getting involved in Maddie Nolan? The most ironic part, though, is that Maddie Nolan really shouldn't have even been on this team to start the year, was only offered a scholarship in May after Deja Church left, was originally committed to a MAC school, ended up deciding to come to Michigan. And how about the spot she finds herself in now, the starting shooting guard after the injury 2 weeks ago to Danielle Rausch?
Well, I think KBA definitely very happy that Maddie Nolan decided to stick around.
And there is Nolan. Nolan now to the cup. A wild shot there. Michigan lucky to get it back, but Nolan, despite that miss, a huge X factor. Another steal. Speaking of X factors, Naz Hillman, the power and then the strength off it to lay that one in inside. How about the power dribble and then using her body to create contact and finish off?
And a great play to set that up from Maddie Nolan again. Great bounce pass into the post. Knows exactly who she's looking for to get the bucket.
Maddie Nolan playing a great defensive game. A.K. Johnson playing some great defense there on Petra Holshinska, who has been scoreless since Johnson switched on to her. It's Janae Terry now in and out. The hustle from Courtney Jones. She's ripped from below. A great hustle play there by Amy Dilk, and now a foul, a frustration foul against Courtney Jones. You cannot afford those. That one, though, only the first against the Fighting Illini in the quarter.
And that's a light foul. She's not going to be happy with that call, but you can't be reaching in, especially just after a turnover. The referees are going to get you for that every time.
Courtney Jones looking a little disgruntled on the floor, had her hands on her hips, but in guarding Haley Brown, she's got to stay tight to the deadly shooter. A.K. Johnson now pumps inside. Hillman met by two. She's fouled, though, and Naz Hillman now going to have a chance for two at the line. Michigan really exponentially increasing her involvement here in this third quarter, looking for her every single possession down the floor.
Well, Michigan also doing a much better job than the Illini at getting to the line. These will be their 9th and 10th free throws of the evening. They're currently 7 of 8, but the Illini 0 of 3 from the line tonight. That's the difference right now.
Naz Hillman hitting that one. The Wolverines now up to 8 of 9 as a team. Only 68% on the season. Hillman herself only 65%. However, she hits the second one as well on the night. Hillman now 3 of 4 herself at 75%. And quickly, Naz Hillman has gone from 2 to 9 points in just under 4 minutes.
Well, early in this second half, Michigan turning their focus to their number one scorer, 5th overall scorer in the Big Ten, Naz Hillman, and she's going to work down in the paint against a smaller Illinois defense.
Wolverines extending this lead and getting stops as well. A.K. Johnson blown up by an illegal screen there by Courtney Jones and being rewarded for her defensive hustle. The Wolverines now getting the ball back, looking to keep this rolling. A 6-0 run over the last minute and a half. Illinois in a 2+ minute scoring drought. In that same period, they have had 3 turnovers as Michigan's lead has ballooned to 7 points.
You can really feel Michigan starting to squeeze control of this game.
Hillman working there against the smaller Kennedy Miles and finishing against the smaller Kennedy Miles. Naz Hillman now up to 11 points, back in double figures. Those last 2 games, she did not have double figures. Looking at those 2 games in the scope of her season, it was the first time all year she had under 10 points in back-to-back games. In addition to that fact, in the game against Northwestern, where she scored only 8 points, it broke a 12-game streak with 10 points or more. So Naz Hillman, a force to be reckoned with, finally reasserting herself, and naturally Michigan pulling out to a lead. Kim, yeah, Illinois as a team only 2-12 in Big Ten play, but their competitiveness has really increased lately. Remember last Thursday in a road effort against Indiana, they actually led with just over 4 minutes to go. They led for a lot of this game, however, Michigan pulling away. And, adding on to their road successes, the most recent game that Illinois won in the conference was actually on the road at Penn State as A.K. Johnson sends that one long. So, Illinois, some bright spots late in the season for Nancy Fay, who as a coach really hasn't had many bright spots in her first 2 seasons at Illinois. In her first 2 years, she was a cumulative 19 and 42. Both years, the Illini finished last in the Big Ten. This year, up to second to last, so a little bit of improvement. And this recruiting class she brought in this year, certain to make a huge impact for the rest of this season and their next 3 down in Urbana-Champaign.
Well, she has really set up this Illini program to succeed in the future with that freshman class, as you just described. Janae Terry looking incredible tonight, getting her own shot. Great confidence from her. Kennedy Miles pulling rebounds, doing a great job of that so far tonight. The freshmen have been performing well, but it's just not been enough to overcome the myriad of other issues that they've had throughout the season.
Dolan 3-ball now, can't get that one to go. It's Naz Hillman again, power dribble. Gets it back. She's stripped, though. Gets it back again. How about that wrestling ability for Naz Hillman? She's got that shoulder taped up, but it doesn't look like it's an issue here tonight as A.K. Johnson, who also has her shoulder taped up, was landed awkwardly upon last Thursday against Northwestern. Now going to have a chance for a deuce at the free throw line to extend this Michigan lead out into double digits.
Well, both Naz Hillman and Akenray Johnson have been banged up this season, but they are so tough. They've been playing no matter what, still in the lineup, still putting together great, important performances for this Michigan team. Akenray Johnson able to use her physicality to get to the line again for the Wolverines here. They've been repeatedly doing that so far, and they've been hitting their shots as well.
A.K. Johnson, the senior from Toledo, a 67% shooter, gets that first one to go. The team now up to 10 of 11 on the line for the night. Their lead now in double digits, and for Johnson, a player who was named a team captain before the start of the year, expected to play a huge role, but between injuries to good friend Kayla Robbins, a fellow senior, and then Daniel Rauch, the role Johnson has played has really increased, and she has answered the phone. She has brought it night in and night out. And despite those struggles scoring the basketball on the road, it's really been her defense that has been her calling card in this season.
The defense is definitely what they ask of her and of Naz Hillman down low. The two of them so good down there together.
Wolverines able to get another defensive stop. Their run now at 12-2 over the last 4.5 minutes. Illinois not doing well in this half. Only 5 points for the Fighting Illini in 7 minutes. Hillman now had a chance at the high-low, swung back out to Dilk. Michigan getting tons of opportunities in the middle of this zone. Illinois just going absolutely porous as Maddie Nolan drives and flips it up. It's an offensive foul. A great rotation on the defensive side from Allie Andrews. Finally getting a stop are the Fighting Illini.
Well, a great defensive play there from Allie Andrews to set her feet. Seeing Maddie Nolan come driving down the baseline. Maddie Nolan can't go through her if she sets her feet. Did a great job to take the charge there.
Hey, she might not be able to, but she can sure try. And, you know, for Illinois, finally getting a stop there, putting an end to this really porous defense that we've seen. The offense, though, has been anemic and really hasn't done the defense any favors, so looking to finally get a basket here. Kennedy Miles swinging outside to Holshinska. Holshinska has been silent in this half, and now a 3-second violation against Illinois. That makes 5 turnovers in just under the last 6 minutes. A scoring drought now of just over 2 minutes as the Illini have just struggled to find any form of consistency in this second half. And the worst part for them is they were incredible in the first half. It's not like they played a poor first half and have come out and played an even worse second half. They were elite in that first half. They couldn't miss. They weren't giving up many baskets to Michigan early on, which granted that changed, but still, as Illinois gets another steal, things have not been pretty for the Fighting Illini. Janae Terry to the cup. It's another offensive foul. The offensive fouls just piling up. It's great to see the aggression from these teams. You know, it's the dog days of the season. You got to pick up wins, but it's still got to be tempered.
Both of these teams laying their bodies out on the line. A great charge there taken for the Wolverines. They're doing a great job getting physical in this one. They know that they're on the bubble for the NCAA tournament. Every possession counts right now. You've got to win as many as you can for your team.
Priscilla Smeegee recently checked into the game, tried to dump that one down to Verjao. It winds up out of bounds as Brandi Beasley now checking in for the Illini. And as for Michigan's tournament hopes, currently projected to be around that 9-10 line, just on the right side of the bubble. We'll have a little bit more on their bubble picture later, but a loss here tonight would be catastrophic. Illinois all the way down at a meager 176 in team RPI. It would be a pretty crushing blow to Michigan's tournament hopes, particularly at home where they have already lost to a very lowly ranked team in the RPI. That team being Notre Dame, all the way down in the hundreds. Just about Muffet McGraw's worst team in her Illinois history. So Michigan going to need to do everything they can to avoid a loss tonight. Kennedy Miles getting that one back, laying it in, but I think it was after that shot clock violation occurred. We will see, though. The ref's going to go to the table and take a peek at that one.
Well, the refs are going to look at this. What's the difference right now? That's an 11-point difference. This is an 11-point game right now.
And the difference as well, the plus 12-point third quarter for Michigan last Thursday in action here against Northwestern, a 66-60 loss for Michigan. Granted, there were a lot of injuries, but still, you can't make excuses late in the season. Michigan got blown out in the third quarter as Haley Brown misses that one, and Hillman gets a rebound. She's swatted from behind Michigan, though. Blown out. I mean, the doors just absolutely came off. It looked like a Kansas tornado in regards to the storm that Northwestern came in with. Michigan was just rendered useless on both sides of the basketball. Northwestern was all over the place. Michigan really had no answer until midway through that fourth quarter. Tonight, Illinois has had no answer. Remember, only 4 points in the quarter for the team. Michigan leading 16-4 as Brandi Beasley finally puts it through the cup. That's got to feel good for Illinois.
Well, yeah, Brandi Beasley, Janae Terry have been the bright spots for the Illini so far. They've been able to do a great job creating their own shots off the dribble, which has allowed for other Illinois players to get open. At least it did earlier in the game, but Michigan doing a better job cracking down on both of them here in this second half.
And Petra Holshinska was a major beneficiary of that early. However, not a single point since that first quarter. A.K. Johnson hasn't gotten many points since the first quarter either. She's up to 15 on the game, though, after that dominant first. She missed that one there. Now 4 seconds. Beasley looking to get around Dilk. Beasley to the middle. Flips it up. Nowhere close. And naturally, several seconds in that first half. However, in that third quarter, able to pull out to a huge lead behind an incredible effort down low from Naz Hillman. She had 9 points in the quarter, but despite Hillman's early success, Michigan scoreless in the final 3:43 of the quarter. Illinois' shooting woes really trickling onto the Michigan side as, like I said, they were unable to put the ball in the hoop in the final 3:43 of that quarter. And even in that 3:43, as Illinois gets a bucket, those were free throws by A.K. Johnson, so Michigan has not made a basket since 4:30 to go in that third quarter.
Well, Michigan struggled a little bit on offense here, but their defense has really bailed them out here in the second half. It's been super physical. They're not allowing any of the Illinois players to get to the hoop.
Getting to the hoop now, it's Kennedy Miles. Can't get that one to go. She gets her own rebound, thinks better of going back up, and Brandi Beasley now going to take a little bit of a breather. Going to set things back up. Illinois only trailing by 7 points. Like we said, should probably be down a lot less. They've got 16 turnovers of the night, make it 17. A poor decision there by Kennedy Miles, way too wide with the feet, and offensive foul. The ball now going to trend back to the Michigan Wolverines.
Well, another rough mistake there for the Illini. You got to set your feet on the screens. You can't be giving away possessions like that so easily to this great Michigan team that will make you pay.
Timeout over on the sideline by Coach Kim Barnes-Rico, and Barnes-Rico time out there to try and rectify things on the offensive side. We'll see what they come out with here. Shifting gears, though, late in the season, Michigan has March Madness within their view. We are only 26 days away from officially seeing a bracket on Selection Monday. So, Sam, we're going to play some mind games here at the table. Imagine you are the NCAA committee chair. Michigan on the year, in at number 35 in the RPI. Here's their resume. Their good wins at home against Iowa, number 9. At home against Purdue, 34. At home against Rutgers, 47. A little bit more borderline of a good win on the road against number 62, Minnesota. On the contrary, the bad losses at number 79, Nebraska, and then a stinger at home against number 111, Notre Dame. So, as the head of this imagined committee, what do you need to see from the Wolverines in their next 4 games after this one and the Big Ten women's tourney to firmly put them in the field of 64?
Well, like you touched on earlier, today's game is a must-win for the Wolverines if they want to make the tournament. A loss to an Illinois team that is 176 in the RPI is not going to reflect well on Michigan's resume. They have 3 more games after this game. They will go on the road against Michigan State and Penn State. They beat both of those 2 teams earlier on in the season. Those are winnable games for the Wolverines. And then they finish off here at the Chrysler Center against Indiana, who they have yet to play but has been competitive this year. I think if they win that Indiana game, they are a lock, but they need to win this game first.
Amy Dilk doing everything she can to make sure her team does win this one, knocking down a big triple there, extending the lead back out to 9. The Michigan defense frenetic as well, and that Indiana game going to be an awesome opportunity for KBA and the Wolverines to pick up, like you said, a win that would maybe make them a lock for the NCAA tournament. Indiana is number 18 in the RPI. It would just bolster the team's resume, but that win against Iowa about 2.5 weeks ago looking better and better as the season goes along. Now, granted, Iowa lost a stinger last Thursday. They were just smacked, entirely played off the floor against an incredible Maryland team who actually finds themselves at number 3 in the NCAA RPI. However, the Iowa win still looking big for Michigan, who, like you said, Sam, needs to pick up another win tonight against an Illinois team that is at 176 in the RPI, even though this Fighting Illini team has played pretty well tonight. Dilk Now from in the slot, she drives. Missed one there earlier. She gets that one to go. She will not make the same mistake, capitalizing on Illinois falling asleep and letting her slip behind that 2-3 zone.
Well, Amy Dilk used that move a little bit earlier, but she blew the layup, sending herself on the baseline just a little bit away from the hoop, gives her enough room to get behind the defense and straight to the rim.
And Amy Dilk showing off the hands there. She strips Holshinska. 3-on-2 opportunity. Dilk to the cup. She stripped. Great hands by Brandi Beasley, who leads the game with 19 points. Looking to add to it. Misses the three, but she's fouled on the shot from behind. A.K. Johnson aghast at being whistled for that one, and Naz Hillman's mom is irate behind us. So Illinois now trailing by 11, going to send Brandi Beasley to the line for 3 whole shots to try and bring it back to single digits.
Well, Brandi Beasley, one of the senior leaders on this team, has really led the Illini so far tonight. Put 19 points in right now. She's shooting 3 of 3 from behind the arc. And she's looking now to get Illinois started from the free throw line, where they have yet to make a free throw.
So Brandi Beasley continues that putrid streak. Illinois now 0 of 4 from the charity stripe. Beasley herself a 68% shooter, but unable to get that one to fall. Lucky for her and her team, 2 more chances. Finally, Illinois getting a point at the stripe. But getting back to Beasley, and particularly the nature of her being a senior from Memphis, this Illinois team has quite the dichotomy on their roster as Beasley gets the second to go. The players who play the majority of their minutes are either seniors or freshmen. So next year's team going to be very interesting, where these elite freshmen are going to really have to be thrown into leadership roles early on as sophomores, particularly when there is a vacuum up top of senior leadership. Speaking of stellar sophomore leaders, Naz Hillman, a powerful layup there. Michigan, the lead now back out to double digits, 11 points with just over 5.5 left to go. Illinois on the offensive side slowing things down a little bit. However, Janaea Terry looking to stay aggressive, nearly threw it away inside, swatted by Johnson. A.K. Johnson saying no chance. Illinois unable to take advantage of getting it back, missing the triple, and Michigan getting a rebound and securing things, looking better and better for the Wolverine squad.
Well, the Wolverines really swallowing up everything that gets into the lane. The Illini really struggling to penetrate and get to the rim, drawing fouls or even getting to the rim for layups.
Wolverines swinging around the perimeter. Good look from Haley Brown, who connects from the corner. Haley Brown, a good-looking triple, a sweet stroke, some great rotation, and that nylon looking beautiful as it flips up and the ball goes through it.
Well, a clutch 3 for Michigan there. Just under 5 minutes to play in this game. 14-point lead. That's going to be really tough for the Illini to overcome with how they...
From deep, not just on the season, but tonight in particular, 3 of 6 from downtown on the season. Haley Brown now has 2 or more made 3-pointers in 8 of her last 10 games. Brandi Beasley looking to make a 3 of her own. An errant shot there. Just a questionable attempt early in the shot clock, and I get it. Illinois, you're trailing by 14 with under 5 minutes to go, but you still got to stay patient. You can't just start hucking up shots and, praying, for lack of a better word.
Well, the 3-point rate has gone way down for the Illini here in the second half. They're just 1 of 7 here since the halftime break. And that's due to Michigan really pushing out to the perimeter, contesting shots a whole lot harder than they were in the first half. Illinois just not getting those open threes that they sprung out to that early lead on.
And on top of that, the Illini with 18 turnovers in the game for Michigan. We mentioned earlier how uncharacteristic it was for this team to let it fly from deep. They've got 18 3-pointers on the night. That is the first time that has happened in 2020 in the calendar year. Their last game with over 18 3-pointers taken was on December 31st, New Year's Eve, against Penn State. So Michigan not afraid to let it fly against an Illinois team who on the other side has let it fly, but recently has not been able to buy a bucket. Only 1 of their last 7 as they now see the deficit balloon out to 14 points.
And you got to like, if you're Michigan, seeing those 3-pointers fall as we get to the last few games of this season and get ready for postseason play. 3-pointers so important in both the Big Ten tournament and the NCAA tournament. They can really turn a game from one team to the other.
Dilk in the mid-range. Johnson, it's going to be another triple. She hits another triple. A.K. Johnson, some swagger on that one. Now up to 18 points, 2 of 4 from deep. The team, 9 of 19 from deep. Michigan feeling good late.
Well, Michigan doing a great job spreading the love. I'm a sucker for unselfish basketball. 4 Wolverines currently with more than 14 points on the night. They're doing a great job getting everybody involved in the offense.
A little bit of unselfish basketball there. 2 players throwing their bodies to the floor in order to help their team out. The resiliency from Illinois. Sure, they're down 17 with just over 3 to go, but it does not matter. A little pushing and shoving down on the floor. Haley Brown is livid. She's got to be restrained by the referee. Chip in. We didn't see much of it there. However, the team's back on the court. Going to have to take a little bit of a collective deep breath and close this one out over the final 3+ minutes. Remember, Michigan leading 72-55 as the Illinois player Peebles denied by Isabel Verjao. Just about engulfed the Illinois offensive player with those long outstretched arms.
Well, an interesting development made by that decision from the referees. With Haley Brown out, that was 14 points and 5 rebounds for Michigan in this game. That's a big source of their offense. They'll have Isabel Verjao looking to take over, probably more focused on her defense right now than her offense.
And Verjao, like you said, Sam, I'm sure grateful to have her number called. She's only played 8 minutes tonight, but the defensive intensity there, both on the rejection and the defensive hedge, then hustling back to go guard her player, Isabel Verjao. As a freshman, the type of player who can come in and provide the energy as Illinois' free throw woes continue. Courtney Jones missing that one. The team now down to 2 of 7 on the night. And Jones, a 69% free throw shooter, going to miss the second one as well. And Maddie Nolan coming up with the rebound. Jump ball. Referees quick, though, to ease tensions and break those players apart.
And that's really so demoralizing when the free throws don't fall. Those are part of the game that you really count on, and you really are so important. You can't take those for granted. When you're missing your free throws, it is so difficult, especially when you're down, to come back in a game.
And for Michigan, they've really been licking their chops at the line. It's a feast, if you will. 11 of 12 as a team on the year, only 68%. Looks like we're going to have a little bit of a discussion here. I believe the referee is just trying to confirm that it is indeed Michigan basketball, because I think there's a little bit of a confusion down here on the floor. I think one of the referees just trying to make sure that the last ball was not given to Illinois because of the fight as opposed to possession arrow. It was because of the possession arrow that Illinois got the ball. So Michigan now going to have an inbounding chance as Haley Brown is escorted off the floor. However, she is greeted with a raucous applause from the fans. And how about the Canadian flag? What is it? Is it Old Maple? Old Maple? Is that the name?
I believe so.
I believe so. Old Maple being waved over there as young Maple, Haley Brown, exiting the court after, as you said, Stam, a stellar night from the junior Brown. 14 points on 5 of 10 shooting, 3 of 6 from deep to go along with 5 rebounds, an assist, and a block. So Haley Brown, a heroic effort. She was plus 13 on the night. Her importance to this Michigan win cannot be understated.
Well, definitely Michigan counts on Haley Brown. There's probably not enough time left in this one for it to be too big of a deal to lose her at this point. Up 17 with just over 2:45 left to play. It's going to be really tough for Illinois to claw their way back into this one, especially with how poorly they've shot from the floor in this fourth quarter.
Illinois now trailing by 18, quickly to the hoop is Janiyah Ephraim. And, you know, she was met down under by Isabel Verjao. A little reminiscent of when in hockey there's offsides and you shoot. In basketball, when there's a foul, defenses really take issue with the other team shooting the basketball after the fact, and Isabel Verjao no different, rejecting that shot even though it didn't count. However, Ephraim now 2 chances at the line as she rolls that one home. The deficit now cut to 17 points. However, like you said, Sam, that one just about insurmountable this late in the game. Ephraim's second shot sinks that one. Don't tell Illinois they're out of this one, though. The Illini pressing. They nearly get a turnover. They do get a turnover. A little bit of helter-skelter. It's Sierra Rice with the basketball. It's Allie Andrews now looking to drive. Andrews flips that one up, flips that one in. Allie Andrews didn't even look like she was really looking at the basket as she put that one up. A basket nonetheless, and the Illinois pressure making this Michigan team concerned. Michigan, a team that doesn't really have that many ball handlers, as A.K. Johnson nearly steps back over the line. Instead, she is fouled. That foul going to send her to the free throw line as the Wolverines are in the bonus, so free throws the rest of the way for Michigan as they look to ice this one in a key February matchup.
Well, full court press looked to catch the Wolverines a little bit off guard a couple times there. Illinois forcing some quick turnovers, but their layups not cutting into the deficit quite enough. And they keep putting Michigan back on the free throw line, and they're not going to throw those chances away.
A.K. Johnson now up to 19 points. She hits the second one. A.K. Johnson now up to 20 points on the night. And remember, A.K. Johnson, that Jekyll and Hyde approach to the home versus the road. At home during Big Ten play, just under 14 points. On the road, just under 7 points per game. At home, shooting just under 60% on the night. Johnson from the floor shooting just over 60%. She is 6 of 11 from the floor, including 6 of 6 perfect at the charity stripe. So A.K. Johnson keeping those splits going as she gets fouled again. She'll have a chance for 2 more. A.K. Johnson just padding those home numbers as Michigan looks to further pad its lead.
And Michigan, risky pass there from Amy Dilk. The Illinois full court press is really giving Michigan some problems, but not quite enough. Bailed out there by the foul call against Ephraim. Kenray Johnson back at the line. Already 20 points tonight. Been the main star for the Wolverines on offense, as well as on the boards, pulling 4 of those. Stealing the ball 6 times tonight.
A.K. Johnson, her huge night continues. Now 22 points on the evening for the senior. She's got a career high of 24. That actually came against Rutgers, so a chance for Johnson to even that one up. Not going to be many more opportunities for Michigan. However, they might as well try and get her to the ball. Johnson going to give it up. You know, if I'm KBA, give that ball to Johnson. Let her get to the stripe. Let her attack. Go for that career high. You know, the senior has absolutely earned it tonight. Now it's the sophomore from Indiana, Dilk, pumping inside to the freshman Vereshau. She's stripped, but it's a foul instead. Caught on the wrist there by Courtney Jones. Vereshau now going to have a chance for a deuce at the line, but still, like I said, I really think you got to reward A.K. Johnson. She's been balling all night long. She's 2 points away from her career high. She's going to stay in the game, so, you know, maybe the chance is still there, but the clock ticking ever so quickly in the wrong direction.
And especially in this situation, Kenray Johnson, 8 for 8 on free throws tonight, has just been knocked down at the line. Vereshau missing 1, but Kenray Johnson has really been the backbone of Michigan hitting their free throws tonight and building up this huge lead.
Vereshau hits the second. Those 8 made free throws by Johnson, a career high by a wide margin. Her best effort to date was 5 made free throws against Syracuse here in this building in early December. Like I said, Johnson with 8 on the night, well above a career high. Will she get a career high in points, that being 24, 22 thus far on the night? It doesn't look like it. The way this one's lined up, Michigan going to have a final offensive opportunity here. Let's see what they do. Wolverines going to do it behind chance of Let's Go Blue against this Illinois zone. A great effort. Michigan going to snap a 2-game losing streak and head into a huge Sunday rivalry matchup in East Lansing with a whole bunch of confidence. Amy Dilk unable to make that one. Emily Kaiser working hard down low. She'll be fouled and she'll go to the line. So the Wolverines now a chance to get back up to 80 points. Michigan as a team have not scored 80 points since conveniently early in January, the last time they played Michigan State. So, you know, parallels all the way across the board tonight.
Well, they will go and play against Michigan State coming up on the road in their next game. You got to hope if you're the Michigan Wolverines, that you can bring this offensive performance into East Lansing in the coming week.
No doubt. It's really been the Midas touch on the offensive side. Everybody is raining down shots for the Michigan Wolverines. Every single player who has played tonight has scored except for Priscilla Smingy. She recently checked in. She's going to finish the game with only a minute, though. So, not that bad of a result that she can't score, but still Michigan, a whole bunch of confidence on the night, going to close shooting 26 of 52, 50% even on the night, in addition to 9 of 19 from deep, 47%. The Wolverines just raining down shots, and on the defensive side, able to lock up an Illinois team that was red hot in the first half.
Yeah, well, Illinois jumped out to